thinking like you've never thought before, thinking like someone who knows that they will succeed and who has succeeded, thinking like the 95% of people don't, and beginning to think like the 5% do. It all begins here. Going through your life, deciding that you want to have a goal, deciding that you want to see success. Yes, that is the beginning of thinking like a successful person, thinking like the person who you want to be. But along with having those goals, along with setting that strict outline of what you want to have happen in your life and being very disciplined in that, there is another secret behind all of it. It's something that gets a lot of people choked up. So make sure that you listen closely and rewatch this video if you need to. The first thing of thinking like the 5%, the first thing of thinking like the successful person that you want to be, is to believe that everything is up to you. Yes, there are issues in life. There are struggles in life. There are things that happen. But when you believe that you can make it out, when you believe that you can make things happen, when you believe that regardless of what has gone on in your life, regardless of the circumstances, you still have control, you still have an option, and you still have free will to make things happen despite what things are looking like. Understanding that everything is up to you, it puts pressure on you, yes, but it also empowers you. And that one mindset shift is what makes the biggest difference, because you're no longer living life for other people. You're no longer living life thinking that everything is just controlled by something outside of you, but rather you understand that you have free will and you are going to use it. You will decide if you need to move. You will decide what's going to be best. You will decide that you will make something happen. The thing is, we are so locked in our own minds. Our cages are our own mind. There is this example of the open bird cage where the bird sits in the cage, the door is open, but because it perceives itself as being locked in, it never leaves the cage. That is where you have to break yourself free. Because once you realize that everything is in your control, once you realize that you can do anything and make anything happen, and the things that occur are your choice, it completely changes the way that you think. Because as of right now, you could be on this road of thinking that everything is outside of your control. And because your mind is in that space, because you are thinking like that, that is what your actions reflect. Thus, that is what your reality is reflecting back to you. Is because you are creating things based upon your current belief. If your current belief is that things are outside of your control, that circumstances triumph over you, that everything is going against you, that you can't make anything happen, then what are you going to see? You're going to see those exact things. It affects you unconsciously and consciously. It affects your actions, affects the way that you walk, affects the way that you talk, affects the decisions that you make. Versus when you do the opposite, you start to see the opposite happen. When you believe that you can get yourself out of a mess, when you believe that you can make things happen, when you believe that any mistake that you made in the past does not matter because you have a choice to change things today, guess what happens? Your reality starts to shift and form into what you actually want it to be. And when it comes to this mindset, I will say, there's this quote by Jim Rohn. He said, "You can spend your whole life studying the roots while other people enjoy the fruits." Shifting your mindset to knowing that things are in your control, you will start to see things happen for yourself. And you may not know why. And even before you start to practice this, again, you may not know why it would even work, why it would even make a difference. But I would say just to test it out and stop being so focused on the why, the how, how is this even possible? Why does this even make a difference? And just test it out, because some things, it just works like that. And you can't sit here and question it for the rest of your life, or else you're never going to enjoy the benefits of taking advantage of that mindset. So put it into practice and test it. The next thing is obstacles. A lot of people talk about overcoming obstacles, and this is very important, but I want you to take it in on a deeper level. I want you to take it in on a mental level, because when you face obstacles, when you deal with tough things, successful people deal with tough things. Okay, smart people deal with tough things. Everyone has dealt with something tough, a tough problem, whatever. but it depends on your mindset. When you have the idea in your mind, when you think of the fact that if an obstacle comes, I may not know how to overcome it. I literally might not know what to do. I might not even have the right people, the right gear, the right whatever. But believing that you can task your mind with the goal of finding a solution, and that you're not going to just become a victim to circumstance. You're not going to become a victim to a bad situation, but rather you are going to make that decision that mentally you're not going to give up. When you make that decision mentally, that completely changes the game, because your brain will literally start finding solutions for you. Unconsciously, your brain will begin to start finding solutions for you. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but there are times where you are feeling a lot, you are overwhelmed, and you're constantly thinking about it. It's in the back of your mind, even if it's not super conscious, but you will wake up in the middle of the night, or as you wake up in the morning, you will have this phase where you are you're still tired, you're not fully awake, but then all of a sudden an idea comes to your mind. And it's a solution to your problem. It's the next step. I personally had this happen a lot when I was into art, when I was thinking about different things that I could draw, that I could create. I would get into this state where right before I would wake up or in the middle of the night, this crazy drawing idea would come to mind. So it will happen. Your brain will come up with stuff for you, and it doesn't always have to be conscious. But when you task your mind with, okay, there's this issue, I'm not giving up though, this is going to be worked out. I don't know how, but I know that it will. And I'm tasking my own brain with figuring this out, and I believe that this will happen. I will pray about it, and I know that this is going to happen. I know I'm going to overcome it. You have made that decision that regardless of what obstacle comes your way, you are not going to fold. You are not going to give in. You are not going to allow it to run you. But you are going to make that decision that regardless, you are not going to be a victim to your circumstance. It changes how you react. You will find that solution consciously or unconsciously. And not straining about it, that's the big issue. When you have an obstacle and you strain about it, you stress about it to such an extent, you start to put so much pressure on your own body to the point where it physically hurts to overcome this obstacle. And you don't want to put yourself in that position, because being in that position is not going to help you as much as you think that it is. It is just going to stress you and strain you, and it starts to beat down on you and wear you out. So when you have made a calm decision of, I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to think about the problem, I'm going to task my brain with figuring out this issue, figuring out the answer to this problem, and I believe that this is going to get worked out. I will pray about it, I will think about it, but I'm not going to allow it to run me. When you do that in peace instead of chaos, in certainty instead of anxiety, you can overcome issues way quicker. In the long run, every issue isn't going to spark up a ton of anxiety. In the long run, every issue isn't going to completely throw you off game. You're not going to need months to recuperate from the stress of that issue. Instead, you are able to go and you're able to flow and you're able to enjoy life the way that you are supposed to. And that inevitably ends up helping whatever you're doing. If it's business, if it's school, certification, if it's your job, if it's a relationship, it will help it in the long run. So apply these habits and apply these things so that you can become like the 5% in whatever you want to do. You can make your desires happen. You just have to create the mindset to make it happen. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. Please make sure to take care of yourself fully. Make sure to take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially, and all the other ways. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.